Hello everyone, this is Aparna Shetty, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, AJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. So in this video lecture, I would like to continue with Module 4, that is Classification, from the subject Data Mining and Data Warehousing. So in this video lecture, I will be covering the last topic from Module 4, that is the last type of classifier, which is Bayesian classifier. Okay, so let us start with this classifier, which is Bayesian classifier. Okay, so before we begin, let us consider this example of a football game. Okay, we want to find the probability that who will win. Okay, so the Bayesian classifier is based on probability. Okay, so let us see this example first before going for the Bayesian classifier. Okay, here they have given that consider a football game between two rival teams. Okay, team 0 and team 1. Suppose team 0 wins 65% of the time and team 1 wins the remaining matches. Okay, so if team 0 wins 65% of the time, that means team 1 will win 35% of the time, right? Also, among the games won by team 0, only 30% of them come from playing on team 1's football field. Okay, so among the total matches won by team 0, only 30% of the matches they have won by playing on team 1's football field or team 1's homeland field. Okay, so among the total matches, that is among the total matches won by team 0, only 30% of them came from playing on team 1's football field. On the other hand, 75% of the victories for team 1 are obtained while playing at home. Okay, so 75% of the victories for team 1 are obtained by playing in their homeland only. So among the total victories of team 1, 75% of that victory they have obtained by playing in their homeland. Okay, now suppose now if team 1 is to host the next match, okay, between the two teams. Okay, team 1 is hosting the match. Obviously, if team 1 is hosting the match, they will host it in their homeland only. Okay, now you have to find out which team will most likely emerge as a winner. So if team 1 is hosting the match between team 0 and team 1, you want to find the probability of which team will emerge as the winner. Okay, so that is this example that they have given here. Next, before going through that example, so before solving that problem, let us understand Bayes' theorem. Okay, so Bayes' theorem is based on two very important probabilities. Okay, that is a conditional probability and a joint probabilities. So Bayes' theorem is based on these two probabilities. Okay, joint probability and conditional probability. Okay, so let us first study this joint probability and conditional probability. Okay, so let x and y be a pair of random variables. Okay, their joint probability, that is p of x is equal to x and p of y is equal to y, refers to the probability that the variable x will take on the values x and variable y will take on the value y. Okay, so joint probability always you will be finding between a pair of variables. Okay, here they are taking two variables x and y, and you want to find the probability that x will take the value x and y will take on the value y. Okay, so that is the joint probability. You are finding the probability between a pair of variables. Okay, you want to find the probability that the variable x will take on the value x and the variable y will take on the value y. Okay, a conditional probability is the probability that a random variable will take on a particular value given that the outcome for another random variable is known. Okay, so the next type of probability, that is conditional probability. Okay, you are finding the probability that a random variable will take on a particular value given that you know what is the outcome of another random variable. Okay, so let us look at this example here. The conditional probability of P of y given y is equal to y given x is equal to x refers to the probability that the variable y will take on the value y given that the variable x is observed to have the value x. Okay, so here you want to find out the probability that y will take on this value y. Okay, given that you know that the value of x is this x. Okay, here you know the value of, you want to find out the value of y. Okay, given that you know the value of x. Or probability of finding the value of one random variable knowing the value of another random variable. Okay, that is conditional probability. Okay, so conditional probability is the probability that a random variable will take on a particular value given that the outcome for another random variable is already known. Okay, so these are the two types of probabilities, joint probability and conditional probability. Now our Bayes theorem is based on these two probabilities. Okay, so the joint and conditional probabilities for x and y are related in the following way. Okay, so this is the relation between joint and conditional probability. Okay, that is P of x comma y is equal to P of y given x into P of x, which is equal to P of x given y into P of y. So this is the relationship between the joint and the conditional probability. Now rearranging the last two expression, okay, which is the last two expression. Now rearranging these two expressions, okay, we can arrive at the Bayes theorem. So rearranging these two expressions, we can arrive at a new formula which is known as the Bayes theorem, that is P of y given x is equal to P of x given y into P of y divided by P of x. So P of y given x is equal to P of x given y into P of y divided by P of x. This is known as Bayes theorem. Okay, this formula is known as Bayes theorem. Okay, now we will use this Bayes theorem to solve the problem. So now let us go back to the first example that we saw. That is two football teams, correct? Team 0 and team 1. You want to find the probability that team 1 will host the match and it will win, correct? Okay, now here we have two variables. Okay, here we have two variables. We have variable x as well as we have variable y. Okay, variable x represents the host. Okay, variable x represents the host. Okay, who will host the match. Okay, variable y represents the winner. Okay, who will win the match. Okay, variable y represents the winner. So two variables we are using, x and y. X represents host and y represents winner. Okay, the probability that team 0 wins the match. Okay, here 0 represents team 0 and 1 represents team 1. Okay, so y is equal to 0 means team 0 will win the match. Okay, y is equal to 1 means team 1 wins the match. Okay, y is a variable represents the winner, right? Y is equal to 0 means team 0 wins the match. Y is equal to 1 means team 1 will win the match. Okay, similarly you have for x. If x is equal to 1 means team 1 is hosting the match. X represents the host, right? Similarly, if x is equal to 0 means team 0 is hosting the match, right? We want to find the probability that team 1 is winning the match that it is going to host. Okay, so we know that team 1 is hosting the match. We want to find the probability that team 1 will win the match that it will host. So we want to find what is the probability of y equal to 1, that is team 1 winning the match, given that x is equal to 1, that is team 1 is the host of that match. Okay, you know that team 1 is hosting the match. Here you know x is equal to 1. You want to find out the probability of y is equal to 1. Okay, so you want to find the probability that team 1 is going to win the match that it is going to host. That is conditional probability, right? You know the value of one random variable. You want to find the value of another random variable, right? You know, you want to find the value of one random variable provided that the value of another random variable is known. That is conditional probability. Here we are supposed to find the conditional probability. Okay, so let us see here probability that team 0 wins the match, that is p of y is equal to 0 is equal to 0.65. They have given in the question only that 65% of the matches are won by team 0. So the probability that team 0 wins the match is 0.65. Okay, probability that team 1 wins the match, okay, that is y is equal, p of y is equal to 1 is equal to 1 minus p of y is equal to 0, right? So it is 1 minus 0.65, which is 0.35. So probability that team 0 will win the match is 0.65. Probability that team 1 will win the match is 1 minus probability of y is equal to 0, excuse me, which is equal to 0.35. Okay. This is obvious. 1 minus 0.65, which is 0.35. Next, probability that team 1 hosted the match, it won. Okay, so probability that team 1 hosted the match that it won, that is p of probability that x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 1. Team 1 hosted the match that it won. So probability that x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 1, they are given it as 0.75. They have given in the question only. 75% of the matches won by team 1, okay, are have been played in its homeland only, right? They have given it in the question already. Next, probability that team 1 hosted the match won by team 0. So this also they have given in the question. Probability that team 1 hosted the match won by team 0 is 30%. That is probability is 0.3. So they have clearly told in the question 30% of the matches won by team 0 have been played by team 1's homeland. So who is hosted here? Team 1 is hosted, but who has won the match? Team 0. That probability is 0.3. So all these data they have given in the question. Probability team 0 wins the match is 0.65. Probability team 1 wins the match is 0.35. Probability team 1 hosted the match it won. So x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 1. Hosted also team 1. Given that team 1 won the match is 0.75. Probability team 1 hosted the match won by team 0. So probability that team 1 hosted the match is x is equal to 1. Given that team 0 won the match. Okay, that is 0.3. Next, our objective is to compute a p of y is equal to 1 given x is equal to 1. Okay, which is the conditional probability that team 1 wins the match it will be hosting. So you want to find the probability that team 1 wins the match, given that team 1 itself is hosting the match. So our goal over here is to find out this conditional probability. Okay, so using Bayes' theorem, P of y given x is given by the formula P of x given y into P of y divided by P of x. So P of y is equal to 1 given x is equal to 1 is equal to P of x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 1 into P of y is equal to 1 divided by P of x is equal to 1. Now this P of x is equal to 1, we can write it as, okay, P of x is equal to 1, okay, y is equal to 0, P of x is equal to 1, y is equal to 0, plus P of x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 1. Okay, so P of x is equal to 1, we can write it like this: P of x is equal to 1 comma y is equal to 0 plus P of x is equal to 1 comma y is equal to 1. It is comma, okay. If I have told it as given, I'm sorry, it is not given. Given means if it is slash, if they are put, it is given. Okay, here P of x is equal to 1 can be written as P of x is equal to 1 comma y is equal to 1 plus P of x is equal to 1 comma y is equal to 0. So this is how we can write P of x is equal to 1. Okay, next this P of x is x comma y, okay, I can write it as, see here, refer here, P of x comma y, you can write it as P of x given y into P of y, right? Highlight it with a different color. Here if you see this P of x comma y, you can also write it as P of x given y into P of y. Okay, so here also P of x comma y, I can write it as P of x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 1 into P of y is equal to 1. Similarly, P of x is equal to 1 comma y is equal to 0, I can write it as P of x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 0 into P of y is equal to 0. Okay, so that is how I can replace this using the previous formula. Okay, now substituting the values, what is P of x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 1? It is 0.75 from here, right? P of x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 1, it is 0.75. Okay, that you have to substitute. P of y is equal to 1. What is P of y is equal to 1? It is 0.35. Okay, substitute here. Divided by P of x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 1. Again it is 0.75. Into P of y is equal to 1 is 0.35. Plus P of x equal to 1 given y is equal to 0. It is 0.3. P of x is equal to 1 given y is equal to 0 is 0.3 into P of y is equal to 0. What is P of y is equal to 0? 0.65. So calculating this, you will get the probability as 0.5738. So the probability that team 1 will win the match that it is going to host, it is 0.5738. Or in other words, if I am telling about percentage of team 1 winning the match that it is going to host is 57%. Okay, so this was an example of using Bayes' theorem to compute the conditional probability. Okay. Next topic, using the Bayes' theorem for classification. Okay, so we'll see how to use the Bayes theorem for classification. We all know that classification is one of the main tasks in data mining. So to perform classification, we have different methods. Okay, one method is by using the Bayes theorem, and we will see how to use Bayes theorem for classification. Let X denote the attribute set and Y denote the class variable. If the class variable has a non-deterministic relationship with the attribute, then we can treat X and Y as random variables and capture their relationship probabilistically using P of Y given X. Okay, so if a class variable has a non-deterministic relationship with the attributes, we can treat X and Y as random variables and capture their relationship probabilistically using P of Y given X. The conditional probability is also known as posterior probability for Y as opposed to the prior probability P of Y. Okay, so posterior probability for phi is different from the prior probability. So conditional probability is also known as posterior probability, which is different from the prior probability. During the training phase, we need to learn the posterior probability for every combination of X and Y based on the information gathered from the training data. So during the training phase itself, we have to calculate the posterior probability for every combination of X and Y based on the information gathered. By knowing these probabilities, a test record X dash can be classified by finding the class Y dash that maximizes the posterior probability. So by knowing this probability, we can classify this record X dash, okay, by finding the class Y dash and which maximizes the posterior probability. Now let us consider this example. We have this training data. We have already seen this example, right? Homeowner, marital status, annual income. Based on this attribute, we will classify, okay, whether he is a default borrower or no, he is not a default borrower. Okay, so there are two classes here, yes and no. Okay, we can classify yes, he is a defaulted borrower, or no, he is not a defaulted borrower based on the attribute values, that is homeowner, marital status and annual income. Okay, so this is the training set for predicting the loan default problem. Suppose we are given a test record with the following attribute sets, okay, that is homeowner is equal to no, marital status is equal to married, annual income is equal to 120k. Okay, now suppose if you are given with this attribute set. Now your job is to classify this record. Okay, suppose if you are given this record and they have given the attribute and its values and they have asked you to classify the record by using the Bayes classifier. Okay, so here to classify the record, we need to compute the posterior or conditional probability, that is P of yes given X and P of no given X. So this record over here, X is the record, it can belong to two classes. Either it can belong to yes or it can belong to no. So these are the two classes that this particular record can belong. Okay, so first you have to find the posterior probability of P of yes given X, and then you have to find the posterior probability of P of no given X. Okay, now once you have found the posterior or conditional probability, if P of yes given X is greater than P of no given X, then the record is classified as yes. Okay, so if the posterior probability of P of yes given X is greater than the posterior probability of P of no given X, you can classify that record as yes. Otherwise, it can be classified as no. So based on the posterior probability, okay, which class gives you the highest posterior probability, to that class you can classify this record. Okay, let us see how to do it. Okay, before solving that problem, let us study one more type here. Let us study this naive-Bayes classifier. Okay, so a naive-Bayes classifier estimates the class conditional probability by assuming that the attributes are conditionally independent given the class label y. Okay, so this naive-Bayes classifier you will use in case if the attributes are conditionally independent. Okay, they are conditionally independent and given the class label y. So naive-Bayes classifier you will use when you're going to assume that the attributes are conditionally independent given the class label y. The conditional independence assumption can be formally calculated using this formula. So if the attributes are conditionally independent, then you can use this formula to find the probability. That is probability of x given y is equal to y, pi of I is equal to 1 to d, p of xi given y is equal to y. Okay, for each attribute set x is equal to x1, x2 up to xd consists of the attributes. So for in the case of conditional independence, okay, assumptions, so for conditional independence assumptions you can use this formula to calculate the probability. Okay, using this formula we can calculate the probability. To classify a record, the naive-Bayes classifier computes the posterior probability for each class y. So in order to classify the record, okay, the naive-Bayes classifier uses the posterior probability for each class y, that is equal to p of y into pi of I is equal to 1 to d, p of xi given y divided by p of x. Okay, so in order to classify the test record, the naive-Bayes classifier computes the posterior probability for each class y. Okay, this formula you have to use when the attributes are independent. Okay, now consider that test record, that training data here, which this example what they have given. Okay, over here we have to calculate, our job is to this is x, correct, this is x. They have given homeowner is equal to no, marital status married, okay, annual income 120k. So this x I have to find out whether it belongs to class yes or whether it belongs to class no. Correct, I have to find whether it I have to classify it as either yes or no, right? So how will I classify it as yes or no? If p of yes I will find out, as well as I will find out p of no. Okay, I will find out p of yes and p of no. If p of yes is greater than p of no, I will classify it as class yes. If p of yes is less than p of no, so if p of no is greater, then I will classify it as class no. Okay, so let us first find the probability p of x given no, as well as let us calculate p of x given yes. Okay, so before that we have to find the probability of p of homeowner is equal to yes given no. Okay, p of homeowner is equal to no given no, p of homeowner is equal to yes given yes, and p of homeowner is equal to no given yes, as well as here marital status. I have to find p of marital status is equal to single given no, p of marital status is equal to divorced given no, marital status is equal to married given no. Similarly, I have to find the marital status for single, divorced and married given the class yes. Okay, that is what they have told before itself. Okay, when you study the training data itself, you have to calculate all the probabilities. Okay, before calculating this conditional probabilities, you have to find the individual probabilities first. Okay, so first p of homeowner is equal to yes given no is equal to 3 by 7. Let us see how it is 3 by 7. Okay, so consider this table. P of homeowner is equal to yes. How many values are there? So 3 values are there, correct? How many yes given no? So yes and no, how many values are there? Yes given no, yes given no, yes given no, 3 values are there. So 3 values are there for yes given no. What is the total number of no's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry. It is 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it is 3 divided by 7. Okay. So probability of P of homeowner is equal to yes given no is 3 by 7. Probability of homeowner is equal to no given no. Okay. Let us calculate that. Probability of homeowner is equal to no given no. So if you see no given no here 1, no given no 2, this is no given yes, so you can't count it. No given no 3, right? This is no given yes. Finally here you have no given no. So you have 4, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. What is the total number of no's? Total number of no's, we have already counted, it is 7. Okay, so that is probability of yes given no and probability of no given no. So probability of homeowner is equal to yes given no is 3 by 7. Probability of homeowner is equal to no given no is 4 by 7. Okay, similarly you have to calculate for homeowner is equal to yes given yes. Okay, so probability of homeowner is equal to yes given yes. Homeowner is equal to yes, this is yes given no, so you can't count it. Here also yes given class is no, you can't count it. Here also yes given class is no, you cannot count it. So yes, probability of homeowner is equal to yes given no is 0. Okay, right? Yes given yes, sorry, probability of homeowner is equal to yes given yes, right? It is 0. Similarly, if probability of homeowner is equal to no given yes, obviously if probability of homeowner is equal to yes given yes is 0, then probability of homeowner is equal to no given yes will be 1. Okay, so if you see here, probability of homeowner no given yes, it has to be 1 only. So let us count here. No given yes, no given no, 1, 2, no, 3, 4, okay. Probability of homeowner is equal to no given yes, it is, sorry. Probability of homeowner is equal to no given yes. No given yes, you cannot count, this you cannot count. Here 1, no given yes. 2, 3. So probability of homeowner no given yes, it will be 3. What is the total number of yes? 3. So 3 by 3, which is equal to 1. Okay. Otherwise also, if probability of homeowner is equal to yes given yes is 0, then obviously probability of homeowner is equal to no given yes will be 1. Okay. Similarly, you have to count probability of marital status is equal to single. For class no, how much? Okay, I'll show you this one. Marital status is equal to single, where and all you have, and class is equal to no. Marital status single, class is equal to no, 1. Marital status single, class is equal to no, 1. Next, marital status single, but class is yes over here. Marital status is single, but class is yes here. So it is 2. Marital status single. Total number of no is 7. So it is 2 by 7. Okay, similarly you have to find the probabilities for all the remaining attribute values. Okay, next for annual income. So over here in the table, if you see, annual income is a continuous values, correct? For continuous value we have a separate formula to calculate the probability. Okay, by using this formula we will using a separate formula we'll find the probability for continuous variables. Okay, first this is the formula, okay, for calculating the probability of continuous variable. Highlight it. So this is the formula for finding the probability of continuous values. P of xi is equal to xi given y is equal to yi is equal to 1 by square root of 2 pi sigma ij exponential of minus, okay, xi minus mu ij, okay, that is mean. Okay, mu I represents the mean. Okay, sigma ij represents the variance, and sigma square ij represents the variance, and sigma ij represents standard deviation. Okay, here you have to understand that this is the mean, mu ij is the mean value. Okay, sigma square ij is the variance value. Okay, variance. Okay, and sigma ij is the standard deviation, st. Okay, so using this formula we'll find the probability for continuous variables. Okay, so how you will find the mean? The mean is calculated by adding all the values. Okay, so for adding all the values, so P of annual income is equal to 120. Okay, for class no. So for class no means you will have to add all the values for class no. For class no, all the values you will add over here. 125, 100, 70, 120, 60, 220, 75. So you will add all these annual income values for class no, and then these values divided by 7 will give you the mean, right? Adding these values dividing by 7 will give you the mean. So for class no, all the annual income values you will add and divide by 7, total number of no's. You will get the mean as 110. Next you will calculate the variance. Okay, variance is calculated using this formula, 125 minus 110, that is the mean, the whole square, plus 100 minus 110, the whole square, plus up to last value 75 minus 110, the whole square. 110 is the mean. Okay, divided by n into n minus 1. N is 7, n minus 1 is 6. Okay, you will get this as the variance. Square root of variance will give you the standard deviation. Okay, next substitute all these values in this formula above. 1 by sigma 2 pi, okay, into standard deviation is 54.54 into exponential of minus to the power of minus 120. Xi is 120. Annual income is 120 minus 110, that is the mean, divided by 2 into 2975, which is the variance. Okay, here the whole square, you will get this value 0.0072. Okay, this is the probability for annual income is equal to 120k divided given class no. Similarly you have to find next similarly you have to find P of income is equal to 120 given class yes. Okay, similarly you have to find this probability also using the same way, using the same formula, calculating the mean, variance and standard deviation. Okay, so that is for probability of annual income 120k. So once you have found all the probabilities, substitute it in the formula. So P of X given no is P of homeowner is equal to no given no into P of status is equal to married into given no into P of annual income is equal to 120k given no. Okay, so in the previous formula, as they told, if the attributes are independent, then directly we can multiply their probabilities, right? So in the previous slide we have seen that if the attributes are independent of one another, then directly we can multiply their probabilities. So this is how we can calculate the probability of P of X given no. So P of homeowner is equal to no given no is 4 by 7. P of status is equal to married for class no. Status is equal to married for class no is 4 by 7, right? It is 4 by 7 into P of annual income is equal to 120k for class no, it is 0.0072. Okay, so this is the probability of P of X given no. Next, the same way, calculate the probability of P of X given yes. Okay, we will get this value. So here if you compare P of X given no. Okay, so for P of X for class no has higher probability than P of X given yes. Okay, so class no is having higher conditional probability than class yes. Hence you can classify this record as class no. We can classify this record as class no. Okay, because the posterior probability of P of X given no is greater than posterior probability of P of X given yes. Okay, so this was the naive Bayes classifier example. Okay, next topic is Bayesian belief network. So Bayesian belief network provides the graphical representation of probabilistic relationships among a set of random variables. Okay, so it provides the graphical relationship representation of probabilistic relationships. It consists of two things. Okay, one is it consists of DAG, that is directed acyclic graph. Consists of directed acyclic graph as well as it consists of a probability table. Okay, so first one, it consists of a directed acyclic graph, okay, which is encoding the dependence relationship among a set of variables. Okay, so it has a DAG which is going to represent the dependence relationship among the set of variables, as well as it is going to have a probability table associated with each node to its immediate parent. So probability table associating each node to its parent node. Okay, so if there is a directed arc from X to Y, then X is the parent of Y and Y is the child of X. Further, if there is a directed path in the network from X to Z, then X is the ancestor of Z while Z is the descendant of X. An important property of Bayesian network can be stated as follows. Okay, that is conditional independence property. A node in a Bayesian network is conditionally independent of its non-descendants if its parents are known. Okay, so a node in a Bayesian network is conditionally independent of its non-descendants if its parents are known. So this is the conditional independence property. Okay, the conditional independent conditions imposed by the network topology, each node is associated with the probability table. If a node X does not have any parents, okay, that you have to remember. If the node X does not have any parents, then the table contains only the prior probability. So if there are no parents, then it contains the prior probability. If a node X has only one parent, then it contains the conditional probability P of X given Y. If a node X has multiple parents, say y1, y2 up to yk, then the table contains conditional probability, that is P of X given y1, y2 up to yk. Okay, so this was about the probability table. No parent means it just has the table has the prior probability. It has one or more than one parent means it has conditional probabilities. Okay, so model building in a Bayesian network involves two steps. first you have to create the structure of the network. First you have to create that DAG, that is directed acyclic graph. Next we have to estimate the probability values in the table associated with each node. So next, once we have constructed that directed acyclic graph, next job is to compute the probability table for each node. The network topology can be obtained by encoding the subjective knowledge of domain experts. Okay, now suppose if let us consider this example. They have given a Bayesian belief network for detecting heart disease and heartburn in patients. Okay, so over here we have 6 nodes, right? Exercise, diet, heart disease, heartburn, blood pressure, chest pain. Okay, this is a DAG, as well as each node has a probability table, right? So here the parent nodes of heart disease and heartburn, okay, is exercise and diet. Okay, as well as the parent node for blood pressure and chest pain are heart disease and heartburn. Okay, so we can control heart disease and heartburn with the exercise and diet. Okay, so based on exercise and diet we can control these heart diseases and heartburns. Okay, and the symptoms of this heart disease and heartburns are blood pressure and chest pain. Okay, so let us see, as exercise and diet, as a result of both exercise and diet, we can get heart diseases. Okay, but heartburn, it is a consequence of only diet. Okay, based on only the diet we can get heartburn. Okay, next, blood pressure is caused only due to heart disease. Okay, whereas chest pain is a symptom, or it is caused by both heart disease and heartburn. Okay, next let us see the probability table of each node. So exercise and diet does not have any parent node in this graph, so they just has the prior probability. So E represents exercise and D represents diet. Okay, so E stands for exercise and D stands for diet. So E is equal to yes, the probability is given as 0.7. Okay, and D is equal to healthy, probability is given as 0.25. So E can have two values, that is yes or no. Okay, exercise can have two values, yes or no. Okay, diet can have two values, okay, which is healthy and unhealthy. Okay, so two values for diet, healthy and unhealthy, and for exercise, yes and no. Okay, this was the probability table for the parent node. Next, let us calculate the probability table for heart disease. So heart disease is equal to yes. Okay, it can be based on both exercise and diet. Correct? Heart disease can be based on both exercise and diet. So exercise is equal to yes, diet is equal to healthy, then heart disease is equal to yes, probability is 0.25. Okay, exercise is equal to yes, heart disease, diet is equal to unhealthy, then heart disease is equal to yes is 0.45. Exercise is equal to no. Okay, diet is equal to healthy, probability of heart disease is equal to yes is 0.55. Exercise is equal to no, diet is equal to unhealthy, probability of heart disease is 0.75. Okay, similarly let us calculate the heart disease heartburn probability table. So heartburn is equal to yes. So this heartburn is based on only the diet. Correct? Heartburn is only based on the diet. So diet is equal to healthy, heartburn is equal to yes, probability is 0.2. Diet is equal to unhealthy, heartburn is equal to yes, probability is 0.85. Okay, next we will calculate this probability table for blood pressure. So blood pressure can be high or it can be low. Okay, so blood pressure is equal to blood pressure is based only on heart disease, right? Blood pressure is based on only on heart disease. So heart disease is equal to yes, blood pressure is equal to high. Okay, probability is 0.85. Heart disease is equal to no, blood pressure is equal to high, probability is 0.2. Similarly, the probability table for chest pain. Now this chest pain is based on both heart disease and heartburn. So chest pain is equal to yes, heart disease is equal to yes, heartburn is equal to yes, chest pain is equal to yes, probability is 0.8. Okay, heart disease is equal to yes, heartburn is equal to no, the probability of having chest pain is 0.6. Heart disease is equal to no, heartburn is equal to yes, probability of having chest pain is 0.4. Heart disease is equal to no, heartburn is equal to no, the probability of having chest burn is 0.1. So this was the Bayesian belief network for detecting heart disease and heartburn in patients. Okay. Next topic is characteristics of Bayesian belief network. So Bayesian belief network provides an approach for capturing the prior knowledge of an particular domain using a graphical model. Constructing the network can be time consuming and requires a large amount of effort. The Bayesian networks are well suited to dealing with incomplete data. Because the data is combined probabilistically with prior knowledge, the method is quite robust to model overfitting problem. Okay, so this was the characteristics of Bayesian belief network. So finally we have come to the end of 4th module. I hope all the concepts are clear. If there is any doubt, feel free to ask me anytime. Okay, so that was about module 4, classification. In the next video lecture we will be starting with the 5th module, that is clustering. Very important, one more very important data mining task, that is clustering. Okay, so that was all about the 4th module. Thank you.